Something is very wrong with modern health. Chronic disease is exploding, obesity numbers are skyrocketing, testosterone is declining, and millions of people feel like the system is failing them. Now, if you listen to the mainstream experts, they're going to tell you that the solutions to these problems are complicated. But what if the real answer is actually simple, natural, and has actually been proven to work for centuries? Today, I'm going to walk you through 6 completely natural health interventions that outperform most modern trends. No, we're not talking about peptides. We're not talking about detox supplements or biohacking. We're talking about, well, we are kind of talking about biohacking, but we're talking about methods that if they were discovered today, they'd probably be banned. They don't want you to know about it. Let's go. Let's start off with something that I like to call natural immune system coaching. Now imagine if you had a way to train your immune system the same way that we train our muscles. You introduce a tiny, harmless exposure amount to a virus so your immune system can be trained to recognize it, like AI training for your biology. Your immune system studies the threat, builds the antidote, and the next time it encounters the real thing, it destroys it instantly. Even better, this intervention's so important that it wiped out polio in the 20th century. We can save millions of lives, eliminate entire diseases. But strangely, some people are suspicious of this natural immunoboosting technology, even though it's one of the most successful health strategies in human history. Of course, you might know it by its scientific name, vaccination. But honestly, that word has so much baggage, we shouldn't even think about it. So let's just call it targeted immune coaching. That'll sell well. Next up is probably the most powerful physical enhancement protocol ever discovered. We're talking about an intervention that increases muscle mass, increases bone density, lowers your blood pressure, reduces injury risk, improves insulin sensitivity, and a bunch of other things simultaneously. And here's what's even more wild. It outperforms literally every single peptide on the market when it comes to building muscle. And you don't need to inject anything. This is making your body do what it is evolved to do. The method? Natural loaded movement patterning. You might know it as its more common name, lifting weights. But think about how insane the evidence is here. You pick up heavy object, your body responds by becoming stronger, more resilient, and more metabolically healthy, and you basically become like Wolverine. You heal faster, move better, stronger every year. Even as you get older, you can continue to get stronger. And yet somehow the wellness industry has overlooked this method in favor of $400 wellness stacks and sketchy injectable peptides. But I'm telling you to just squat. Now, let's talk about fat loss. A lot of people are interested in that. And there's a lot of confusion out there. People argue about stuff like keto, carnivore, intermittent fasting, seed oils, detoxes, hormone hacks. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Across all of human history, there's only one mechanism that we have historically identified that consistently produces fat loss every single time you do it. Your body must enter a negative energy state, meaning you burn more energy than you consume. This is the secret to weight loss. And what's even more crazy is you can achieve this through any diet: keto, Mediterranean, plant-based, even the malaligned carnivore. Wouldn't recommend it, but you can do it. Whatever. The underlying mechanism is always the same: a calorie deficit. This ancient metabolic hack is like a mystical hormone that fixes your fat loss struggles. It's just physics. But the human body still obeys the laws of thermodynamics. That's what big wellness doesn't want you to know. Okay, I'm sorry. Another thing the wellness industry loves is superfoods. Superfoods actually do exist, but they're not exotic powders harvested from a mountain in Peru. They're foods that you might walk past in the grocery store every single day. These foods are called fruits and vegetables. These amazing wellness superfoods, they contain fiber, vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, antioxidants. If it's an oxidant or an anti, it's got it. These amazing consumables reduce the risk of heart disease, colon cancer, type 2 diabetes, obesity, all the things that you want to avoid. They stabilize blood sugar, improve digestion, regulate appetite, and feed that thing that we all care so much about, the gut microbiome. But here's the funny part. A bag of frozen broccoli only costs you like $4. So nobody's getting rich selling that to you, which is probably why one of the reasons that the wellness industry prefers $80 greens powder powders. Regardless, now that you know, you are one of the exclusive people who know the secret. Now let's talk about the most powerful recovery drug ever discovered. This intervention improves your memory, improves muscle recovery, regulates hormones, improves immune function, improves mood and metabolism. And this is even more insane, guys. Listen, it literally clears waste products out of your brain while you're unconscious. And we can do it every single night. No supplements required. It's called, and get ready to write this down, sleep. If this were invented today, it would be a banned substance. That's how potent it is. And people would absolutely try and sell it as a $2,000 biohacking protocol. But instead of sleep, unfortunately, we're all just scrolling TikTok until 2 a.m. Wonder if there was any way to fix this. Finally, there's a health intervention so powerful that it literally influences almost every disease outcome ever discovered. Heart disease, obesity, addiction, depression, even longevity. And guess what? It doesn't come in a pill. This thing is called, get ready to screenshot this right now, fam, social connection. Human beings are social animals. Strong relationships reduce stress, improve mental health, improve physical health, and increase your lifespan. This is why community matters. This is why things like mental health services matter. This is why things like public infrastructure matter. It's not all just individual responsibility when we're trying to solve these health and fitness problems. It's also a system that we can build together. This ancient technique of working together is what survived humans for millennia. And this is the weird thing about modern health culture. The solutions that actually work are often boring, well-studied, inexpensive, and widely accessible if we would just make them so. Meanwhile, the wellness industry usually wants to sell you things like peptides, detoxes, make you panicked about your hormones, peddle conspiracies about seed oils, and to make you think it's necessary to spend $300 a month on supplements. The thing is, boring solutions don't make influencers rich, and that's a problem in the society we live in today. You know, human beings have spent centuries studying health. We've run many randomized control trials, large population studies, metabolic and clinical research, and the results of these studies are actually pretty consistent. We got to move our bodies. We got to eat mostly whole foods. We got to sleep more. We got to stay connected with other people. And we got to use medical science to drive these forward and continually improve them over time. The problem is a lot of the obstacles stopping folks from doing these things consistently are systemic and not individual. Reduced purchasing power and lower real income makes affording leisure activities or even having time for exercise a luxury to many people. The price of food, especially healthy foods like fruits and vegetables, are entirely out of control, making it expensive to eat healthy. We have less time to sleep and we're more stressed out than ever by unnecessary hardships being thrust upon us, mainly by obscenely wealthy people making extremely bad decisions that negatively impact all of us. Healthcare costs in the USA are ridiculous and continue to go up. Healthcare in Ontario, where I live, Canada, due to the conservative Ford government, is getting smaller increases below inflation, reduced spending in some areas, and a push for privatization, which really just means pushing the cost of healthcare onto the individual. And we should keep pushing for politicians and our governments to keep investing in healthcare infrastructure and research so we can better the accessibility and quality of all of these things. That's what's really going to raise the needle. We keep having less money, less time, and less resources. And shifting the burden further onto those of us who have less is not going to help anyone in the long run. But somehow, a huge chunk of the internet seems to have just collectively decided that thousands of scientists are maliciously lying to you about these things, and that the real answers come from a worm-brained guy and a bunch of podcast shills selling supplements. Health shouldn't be about ideology or conspiracies. It should be about what actually works. And I got some good news for you. We know what works. We just need the means to implement it for as many people as possible in as many places as possible. Don't support healthcare funding cuts. Don't support placing all of the onus on the individual. Don't support imprecise grifter language, even though I know I used it in this video in a satirical fashion to point out how these things actually do work. And what we really need to do is continue to study and verify what we already know, and also figure out ways to implement these things for as many people as possible, which we largely already know. It just comes down to allocations of our tax dollars. So that's why I, who live in Canada, am happy whenever I see any initiatives that tend to support and fund healthcare. And I hate whenever there are cuts to these things that tend to push the onus onto the individual while ignoring scientific facts. Anyway, hope you found my little satirical video fun, interesting, or something. Drop me a comment below, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And I hope this video came out better than I think it might. Peace.